Any trip to the woods starts with a lovely drive through the beautiful English countryside, which is made all the better when it's almost 30 degrees outside. But eventually you do actually arrive, and this is perhaps one of the most enjoyable parts of going to the woods, and that is getting away from all the people, quite frankly. Outdoors YouTubers do like to put these little romantic woodland scenes in, travelling through the leafy channels as you get to your destination. The reality being, of course, that having sat in that truck for 2 hours, all I'm actually thinking about is getting out and having a wee. Once being fully drained, it is time to empty the truck, and with this being a single overnight stay, I of course brought about half a ton of gravel and survival / camping equipment. Lovely to be traipsing that through the wood in the sunshine whilst wearing heavy boots and long trousers. Now my sleep system for this evening is a bed and a sleeping bag. I mean, it's a bed, just get over it. And my survival food is, of course, this, tea bags. Can't go anywhere without a cup of tea. Some lovely onion rings there. Jaffa cakes, survival food at its finest. A bit of fizzy pop. I think that's Fanta, pineapple and orange. Some water, because I was being a little bit sensible. Really don't want that teapot to run dry, and then some zero alcohol beers. Now you may think that we go down the woods and beer it up all the time, but no, operating a chainsaw is often done better while stone cold sober. So yes, I do drink zero alcohol beers whilst in the woods. That being said, I have watched enough Kent survival episodes to know that no woodland or outdoor YouTube video is complete without a bit of shameless beer promotion, just in case a few brewers are watching. You never know who's got their beady eyes on your videos. With camp set up, it was time for a sweeping woodland shot to give you the idea that I'm right out in the wilderness. And it's only when I turned around I noticed that some towny vagrants had rocked up and pitched up their tent. I did try to engage them in conversation, but it's just not me adding bro and bruv at the end of every sentence. So I wandered off as I had a problem. Camo hats put down in the woodland are often lost. I didn't know where it was, and that was another thing I was going to have to find. Time to start a campfire. Now, if you are a survivalist, I'm going to tell you a top tip now. Plastic lighters set fire to dried bluebell stalks. Yes, I know you can use a flint and a striking iron, but the reality is, if the world ended tomorrow, there will be plastic lighters all over the floors and in every shop for many, many decades to come. You really don't need to struggle. The tiny vagrants joined me as I supped on my Lily's mango cider by the campfire, and they even offered to cook me my tea. I had a delicious burger for which they provided all the ingredients. I really tucked into that one, and I followed it up with a rather interesting hot dog. That one, however, made me fall asleep, and I awoke many hours later, albeit thankfully unmolested. I decided to cut my chances and get out of there, and escaped up to the tent where I enjoyed a full night's sleep. Waking in the morning in shot of a functioning camera like a true YouTuber, I realised that I had to get some survival rations into my body. So immediately reached for the one thing I could think of course. Bog standard cheap Jaffa cakes. Most of them had disappeared in the night somehow, but there was one packet of them left. A couple of them was really going to set me up for the day. Cheap confectionery is, of course, only half the story when you are surviving in the wild. The other half being a decent mug of tea. And I knew that campfire wasn't going to light itself. So despite still being in bed shorts and Crocs, it was time to make the short walk down to the campfire to get the kettle on. Now, while spare legs may sound very liberating, first thing in the morning in the outdoors, I can assure you that the ticks, horseflies, midges and all other manners of critters and creepy crawlies will let you know that you are not living in a Pixar film. With that in mind, I decided at the very least to chuck some work boots on whilst I took the tea bags, kettle and milk down to the campfire. And as I approached, I noticed that one of the towny vagrants had indeed made an attempt to light it. I mean, fair play for trying, but these townsfolk really don't have the skills that I have for surviving in the wild, so all I could do was voice my disapproval. But after finding a plastic lighter on the floor discarded from last night, I was able to use my woodsman skills to get it going to a adequate and proper standard. Leaving the towny vagrant with the responsibility of making a decent cuppa without oat milk or gentrification, I decided to wander back to the tent to make sure I was dressed properly. Whilst no one wants to actually watch a grown adult get changed in a tent, it does give us YouTubers an excellent opportunity to show off some saucy tattoo shots. Spoiler alert for the next time you're watching an outdoor YouTuber getting changed in an uncompromising position, they didn't leave that camera running by accident. They also have every opportunity to edit out any part of their footage from the film that they are making. With boots and long trousers back on, I was almost ready to face the world. Just one thing was required, and that was my brand new fresh Woodland t-shirt. And who could disagree with that as a message? With camo hat relocated once more, it was time to wander down to see how the towny vagrants were getting on with that cuppa. They hadn't been sitting idle though, and breakfast was another suspect looking sausage. Although I have to admit it was tasty, and so I wolfed that down just to give me some energy from those Jaffa cakes earlier on. As my new city slicking companions chunted on about pensions and taxes and all other nonsensical topics that no one really cares about, I did start to wonder about the other outdoor YouTube channels that I watch and what sort of content that people like to see. I do often consider bringing down some pallet wood to build a little hovel like you see in many YouTube videos, just to demonstrate that I can survive in the wild, barely a mile from the nearest supermarket. And I pondered on that while enjoying my cup of tea, and then it came to me. The answer was there, right there on my head. My cap. My camo cap that I keep losing in the woods. What if I had a safe place to keep it? What a brilliant idea that would be. So thinking back about all the inspirational construction ideas I've seen on TA Outdoors, I decided to use my Grans Fours Brook hatchet to fashion me a device. A device that meant I would never again lose my camo cap in the woods. Maybe I should think about sharpening the axe as well.
The only thing I think about that is I made porridge with oat milk. And you might think that's an oat overload, but that was good.
It's hard to imagine how long someone could keep up a conversation about oat milk, but nonetheless, the tiny vagrants by now had been at it for at least an hour as I crafted away at my product. And finally, it was ready. One hat stand.
Hopefully that was filming.
With their callous laughter ringing in my ears, I asked the towny vagrants to leave. Which they did without complaint because they'd seen how many axes I keep in the truck. But that did leave me alone with the cleanup job, so I had to get that fire going again because I was going to need some hot water. Now, some outdoor YouTubers may try and convince you that they live a survival life of military rations, bivvy bags and tarps. But I'm going to be honest with you, I like to take everything down the woods, including, that's right, the kitchen sink. I mean, how else are you going to do your washing up? If I take those picnic dishes home dirty, I'm never going to hear the end of it. And with that done, it's time to pack up and clear camp. Another night survived in the wild woodland, recorded in full for you, the viewer. Please do like, share and subscribe if you can, and let me know what sort of content you would like to see here on Woodland Life. But for now, ciao. Unfortunately, because I don't have 1 million followers, I do have to hold down a real job when I'm not here. See you next time.